waited so long to make this video. I am so excited. I have my first products ready, and depending on when you're watching this, I have a whole bunch more. You can go to mushroomvoice.com if you don't care for the story, the tea, whatever. You just want to go, thank you. But if you want to know how it happened, this is the story of how it happened. It started 2 years ago. Why did it take me so long to get products made when everybody else has already come and gone? Well, I'll tell you. In 2022, I wanted to start making my products before anyone else started trying to get in stores and in shows and, for the whole thing to get like all blown up and then do it badly. But I didn't, and it got bad. And I made another whole video on what to look for in Amanita products, the whole story, how it went down, the Wild West of everything. My story begins when y'all were watching me and I was posting on Instagram and on the community tab on YouTube saying, I'm on a secret mission, I'm going to tell you soon, and I would be in the airport and it'd be like, welcome to San Diego or welcome to New York or whatever. What I was doing is I was going to different labs, different chemists, trying to talk to these people and see if I wanted to partner with them to make my products. And one after another, they would say, yeah, well, that sounds a little too difficult. What we can do to start out is we can just make this kind of product and we'll get it out there quickly and cheaply. And I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of like not my brand and not my name and not how I want to be known. And I really don't want to make a cheap, bad, crappy product. Can we not do something about that? And every single time I would spend my money to go to these places, these were not cheap trips. They would wind up just not calling back. What they were hoping to do, I learned, is just use me as a name, as a brand, to make their cheap, shitty ass products. I found one person who was very ethical, very moral, wanted to do it the right way, but he believed all the scary stuff about the mushroom. And in the end, when it came down to it, he just said, I can't do it. I'm too scared. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I'm too scared. So, that's how he feels, that we couldn't do it. And then a lot of people were like, yeah, let's work with you. Let's work with you. Let's work with you. But again, when I would say, this is what I want to do. These are the products I need to make. This is how they need to be made. This is how they're like, you have no idea what you're talking about. You clearly don't understand business. That's too expensive. It doesn't work like that. So all of 22 and all of 23 was spent doing that until I just didn't want to do it anymore. Until I went to this guy locally, had reached out to me. He had a store down in the Atlanta metro area. And he's like, I want to learn about the products. I don't understand what I've got on my shelves. I don't understand the labeling. Can we have a meeting? So I went down there to his store and we were looking at all of the products. I told him they're all bad. This is why. This is what to look for. And I made another video for you also about that in this playlist, in this series. He said, well, why don't you have products? And I explained why. And he said, well, I'll place an order if it'll help you get a manufacturer. I said, that would absolutely help. So he wanted tinctures, and I didn't want to start out with tinctures because they're breakable, they're bulky, they take up space, they're heavy, they're hard to ship, all of it. Bottles are more expensive for packaging. Like it's the worst first product to make. But also when I'm trying to teach the world that this isn't supposed to be in the recreational market, it's supposed to be in the health and wellness field, that it's supposed to be more in the healing space, supplement space, not chip space, recreational space. I encountered a lot of resistance about that, and I've just spent 2 years getting laughed at, basically. I had to start the process of labeling, but I couldn't do any oral use products by myself, flying under the radar and just slapping my logo on a product and sticking it in my store for oral use, because I am a public person, and because I would then ping the FDA. They'd be like, all right, what are you doing? It would cause scrutiny and then cause problems. So all these other people that are selling Amanita products that are not labeled properly, they can do it because they're not a public figure. There's too many people selling stuff like that. The FDA doesn't have enough manpower to go after everybody like that. They don't care to. But once you get a name for yourself and you're an educator, then you get on their radar. So I was under more scrutiny than literally anyone else. And so I have been sitting here watching my income just steadily go down because censorship won't show people my stuff. They unsubscribe people from my channel. They demonetize my channel, and then they don't push my content out there. There's people that from the very beginning, when I said ibotenic acid is not harmful, immediately said she doesn't know what she's talking about. So I have like this bad reputation online that I spread misinformation and that my information is harmful. So like all of this sort of has snowballed to reach this crescendo point of the slander online, and then my products that I make in and put in my store that were topical, spiritual, smoking, all that stuff has now spread because I freely give out how I make it. Now so many people are making my products that have flooded the market and that are copying the ingredients and then putting them in different kinds of products that my sales have gone down. Which, I mean, I knew that would happen. That's how it goes. It has just meant overall my income has been going down while I've been watching all these other people make hundreds of thousands of dollars on Amanita products because they're not doing it ethically or morally or responsibly. The biggest issue is becoming FDA compliant. Because I educate, I have to be very careful about the things that I say and the things that I put in my book. I was very careful. I knew the law when I wrote this book, and then I went in the studio and I recorded the audiobook. But once I knew that I was going to make these tinctures, I had to hire an FDA advisor. It took them a long time to go through all of my stuff and to start making recommendations. There were over 600 changes that had to be made to the book alone. It had to be taken out of publication. I had to go through the manuscript, make all the changes, republish it. But then I had to go back in the studio and re-record or just re-punch in all the mistakes that we changed in the manuscript. We had to change in the audio. It took, that alone was just several months of work. It was unbelievable. Once I got through the FDA review on my work side, on the education side, then I had to go through the websites. I had to start making changes in my community. I had to start making new rules in the community. Had to change those rules in the user agreements and all that stuff. Once I did that, then we had to start going into label making. And I had to learn about all of the hoops that I had to jump through and the requirements to be compliant with the FDA in my labeling. I have 3 different products: an ibotenic acid product, a 50-50 conversion that's meant to be like the tea conversion product, and then a full muscimol product. So that there's all 3 sides of this mushroom available. And I had to make sure that I had them labeled appropriately. So what I had to do was work with the advisor and the label designer. And so that took a couple of months. So that was me describing the product, giving them mock-ups, drawing what I wanted, the ideas that I had, the claims I wanted to make that I knew I couldn't. And then the FDA advisor would say, okay, these are the other things you can say that sort of convey what you're trying to convey on the label. And then we would go back and forth on that. Finally got that sorted out. And then I'm going back and forth with the label designer. The label designer is going back and forth with the FDA advisor so that we all are on the same page and we finally work it all out. And then we had to go through that process 3 times for all 3 products. And then once they were made and in the right amount of preserved alcohol, then they had to go off for testing. And then testing took a while. And then we finally got everything back. And I was really excited to be able to deliver this product to these stores. And the guy, the owner of the stores, we were going to do like a whole book signing day. And so we got all that planned out, and now it was a compliant book. And we set the date on the calendar, and then we hit the snag. There was a death in the family of someone in this process that was extremely important. And that was it. They just, work stopped. And the deadline was coming up. The person that I work with, Minnesota Nice Botanicals, that gets the mushrooms and everything for all of this, and he was sort of my go-between and some contacts for me with a lot of these spokes in this wheel. And his local people were harassing him so much so that he is having to completely rearrange the way he does business. And we knew that government harassment was going to become a thing. And it just all hit in the same week, within about 7 to 10 days. And, you know, on a spiritual, theoretical level, I also understand that what I'm doing is changing lives. I wouldn't have so much pushback. Literally every video I put out and every new thing that I say and every new theory I come up with and every new thing that I do, I wouldn't get so much pushback if I wasn't changing things. But I knew that I couldn't my site wasn't set up to sell it because there's certain things you can and can't use PayPal and typical merchants and stuff like that for. That's why you are having so much trouble buying things and getting money to people. And why it seems like there's always people popping up and disappearing, because they just have to keep creating new accounts because those accounts keep getting taken down. It's an issue. And the only way to get your ducks in a row and do it in a way that you're not going to always be running is called high risk. And it's not that the products are high risk, it's that the financials are high risk, because people in the THC, CBD, kratom, and now, unfortunately, Amanita muscaria fields, those are considered high-risk people, financially high-risk products that they are dealing in with high-risk communities. Casinos are also in that category. And it's because there are bad actors in those arenas that just pop up and scam people, take their money, whatever. So if you are a money processor, you don't want to be the one that's processing this money. You're the in-between person getting money from customers and then handing them over to the seller for a product. And then that seller doesn't deliver the product, they're stealing or they're scamming. And then now these people need their money back and you're the one that's got to give it back. That is why PayPal and all these Venmo and all these people will not let you sell these products, and why they'll shut your account down, and why it got taken down off of so many sites, and that these things can't be sold because of the shitty people. To get correct and do it correctly takes an incredible amount of money and an incredible amount of time. So this entire process has cost thousands of dollars and a very long time. I finally hear back from the lab and the testing and everything is ready. And we get the bottles and I'm like, all right, how much is it? How are we going to invoice? Do I invoice the store? Do you invoice me? Like how, what? We get it all worked out. I call the store owner. I'm like, guess what? And he's like, yeah, well, you missed the deadline. Why? And when I explained to him the issues and troubles that we were having, he's like, well, I'm out. I'm getting out of this. This whole thing is sketchy. I don't like it. And so this was happening. The timing was happening of all of this because if you watch my other video about Amanita products, this was that point in time at the end of 2023 when the stores were no longer carrying these products because they were so bad. Customers were complaining. Nobody was making reorders. They were having a hard time getting what they did buy sold. And there was just an overall bad taste in their mouth with it because of the bad actors. And so this was the case with this guy. And he's like, I don't feel good about it. I'm sorry. Hate to leave you hanging. I'm out. And I don't have any ill feelings toward him. He's trying to take care of his store and his people, his family, keep food on the table, keep his business open. I get it. It's just unfortunate because he was saying no to the one product that was going to be the good one. But that's okay. I told him, I texted him, I said, you'll be back. That was a bad day because now I had to take shipment of 150 tinctures that I couldn't sell. And I had to pay a really big bill for them. And I had to start the process now if I was going to be able to sell them myself, getting my website set up with a high-risk merchant and a high-risk bank account. So that's what I've been doing all through Christmas and the holidays and the solstices and all the things, is jumping through those hoops. And it has been extremely difficult, extremely expensive, extremely frustrating, very painful. I have cried almost every day. Without further ado, my store is open at mushroomvoice.com, and I present to you my very first products. First we have Smart Energy. What do you think? You like the label? So that's Smart Energy. Okay, here's the tea. So when you make it at home, the tea recipe with, lemon and everything, then that is your relief. So that's your Smart Relief. So this is supposed to be basically the tea recipe. And here is your full muscimol product, Smart Rest. I'm so proud of them. Oh my God, I've never worked so hard for anything in my life. 2023 was write a book and make products year. It was just the two hardest things I have ever been able to do: publish, make, get to market, fix my life, websites, photographs, designers, laws, rules, regulations, hoops, craziness. So this is my first line of products. And I hope that you like them, and I hope that they serve you well. Those of you who are in my private membership community, you've been watching me through the whole thing and helping me and supporting me, and I really appreciate you for that. If you want to join us at Mushroom Voice, we have a pay-as-you-go option, so it's not like a monthly commitment if you want to come hang out. And then every other week, like every 2 weeks, my newsletter comes out, and I've been sort of keeping y'all in the loop as things have been going. But you guys, if you are not getting my newsletter, why aren't you? You're just now hearing about it, and it's been going on for a long time. So come hang out in my world with me. And thank you for being here and supporting me. I love you, beautiful people. Bye.